Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Furkan Ahmed, and today we're diving into the fascinating world of Microsoft Azure Cloud Computing. Here's a comprehensive outline for a Microsoft Azure course covering various aspects of Azure services and technologies. Module 1, Introduction to Microsoft Azure, Understanding Cloud Computing in Azure. Overview of Azure Services and Solutions, Azure Global Infrastructure and Regions, Azure Management Tools and Portals. Module 2, Getting Started with Azure. Creating an Azure account and subscription. Managing Azure resources with Azure Resource Manager, RM. Implementing resource groups and tags. Azure Pricing and Billing Module. 3. Azure Virtual Machines. Deploying and managing virtual machines, VMs. Configuring VM sizes, images, and disks. Implementing virtual machine networking, VNET, NSG. Managing VM availability and fault tolerance. Module 4, Azure Storage Solutions. Overview of Azure Storage Services, Blob, File, Table. Implementing Azure Blob Storage for object storage. Configuring Azure File Storage for file shares, using Azure Storage Explorer for management. Module 5, Azure Networking. Implementing virtual networks, VNETs, and subnets. Configuring Azure VPN Gateway for site-to-site connectivity. Implementing Azure Express Route for hybrid connectivity. Configuring Azure Traffic Manager for load balancing. Module 6, Azure Identity and Access Management. Managing Azure Active Directory, AAD. Implementing users, groups, and roles. Configuring multi-factor authentication, MFA. Integrating on-premises Active Directory with Azure AD. Module 7, Azure Platform as a Service, PaaS Solutions. Deploying web apps and web app containers. Implementing Azure SQL Database for Database as a Service. Configuring Azure Functions for serverless computing. Deploying and managing Azure Logic Apps for workflow automation. Module 8, Azure Monitoring and Management. Monitoring Azure resources with Azure Monitor. Configuring alerts and metrics. Implementing Azure Automation for task orchestration. Using Azure Resource Manager templates for infrastructure as code, IAC. Module 9, Azure Security and Compliance. Implementing Azure Security Center for threat protection. Configuring network security groups, NSGs, and application security groups, ASGs. Implementing Azure Key Vault for secure key management. Understanding Azure compliance and regulatory standards. Module 10, Azure DevOps and CI/CD.